Shalom. Good morning. Sister Kate here. My apologies to everybody about the Vice live stream. It was an outstanding live stream. It was about an hour and a half long. Zeke stopped by, made some comments. You all made some comments. It was wonderful. And then, like a ning nong head, I accidentally deleted it instead of the live stream that wasn't happening. That was like dead in the water. That's the one I wanted to delete. And I made a bonehead, amateur move. And so the one live stream has been deleted, unfortunately. And we may still do like another one, but the moment may have been lost also. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about two comments that were made on the Vice video. And right now, I think there's 4,200 comments. So I've read some, pastors read most. I've commented on a couple. But there was some comments today that really made me think. And so I just felt like I had to do a video on them. And it was two comments in particular. One of them was made by a Scandinavian fellow, I'm assuming. I don't know which country exactly he's from, but with a name like Lars. And he said, I'm from somewhere over there, probably Norway, Sweden, whatever. He said, where is God? Where is justice? And then someone else on the same line of comments said, trying to survive a end of the world event nowadays is going to be super difficult because of nukes and everything. And both comments just really struck something in me. So I did try to, give an answer from my perspective, from my almost 60 years of living on this planet. The first one is about a misperception in the world, a misperception in the Christian world, a misperception in the overall world, that bad things never happen if God is in control. So there can be no God. There can be no God because bad things happen. And this is just a social construct that is false, false, false. And it's false even according to by the Bible, which is where we get our instructions, we get our descriptions, we get our archetypes of God and his people and how his world works. So I'm just here to tell you that there is a God and bad things also happen all the time. Now, on one level, the word tells us the Prince of Peace, the Prince of this world is Satan for a time. And so he is allowed to do what he does, and he runs around, doing the things that he does, and signs that people are following him are lying and evil acts. Now, that's on a spiritual level, and if you aren't into that, that's fine. I get that. But God's word itself, hang on a second. Hey, dog, no, come here. Give me a sec. First of all, if you've read the Bible, you know that in the Old Testament, the Lord wreaks havoc on people right and left. His believers as well as other societies and cultures that his believers, wander through their country or are in a war with them. He does all kinds of things to people. He wipes out entire kingdoms. He has his people defeat, Joshua defeats 31 different kingdoms. Sometimes they wipe out an entire city, all the animals, all the people, everything. He puts plagues among his own people. When Moses comes down off the mountain and Aaron and the people down there are having a party and made a golden calf, he tells his own people, the Israelites, to grab a sword and to walk through the camp and to kill each person who was worshiping this false god. So he's not a, oh, safety, blah 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 blah, little soft voiced God. He is a righteous God, and by righteous, he gives you rules, and then if you break them, he gives you punishment for breaking those rules. And he doesn't change the punishments, they're just laid out straight. And it's up to you to decide how your behavior is going to be. And according to that behavior is how he punishes you. So that's what righteous means. It doesn't mean it's got a little halo above its head. It means he sets the rules, you break them, you get the punishment he has described. You know what's coming. And so in the New Testament, there's an example in Luke where Luke quite simply says, there's some pilgrims going to the Tower of Siloam, or possibly even just in Jerusalem, and the tower collapses and kills 18 of them. And he says, do you think they're any much more of a sinner than you are? And basically his point is, no, they weren't. They just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and stuff happens. So be glad you were not them that day. Be glad that you escaped the Tower of Siloam falling on you this day. Rejoice in being alive, kind of thing. And so nowhere in the Bible is it, promises of happy flowers and everything, while you're living your life and breaking rules right and left. The promise of, good things happening to you, a peaceful and quiet life, is for those who follow God's rules only, not everybody else. And there are parts of the New Testament, Corinthians, that say if someone is unrepentantly sinning, you just turn them over to Satan. So that's the answer to that question. Now, the other comment was about surviving a doomsday event being harder now than it was in, say, the year 1000 because we have more advanced weaponry, which is true. Hang on, another dog issue. So here's the deal. If a doomsday event nowadays is going to be worse, comparatively with, say, one in the year 1000 because of technology, then it takes a very dedicated thinking prepper to be ready to try to survive that event. And that should get some of you thinking. It's going to take a very dedicated, prepared prepper to survive such an event. Think about that. You are definitely not ready if you don't even think about what sort of things could happen to you, even locally. I want to stress that because I'm not the sky is falling kind of lady, but I am a realistic lady. And so your area, if you live in the West Coast right now, you're having drought, and there was some huge fire in Canada during the heat wave that killed a bunch of people up there. Those kind of things happen all the time. They happen all over the planet. You can get locusts or grasshoppers showing up and eating a bunch of your crops. You can get flooding. You can get fires. You can have earthquakes in California, mudslides. You can have infrastructure collapse. Just look at Detroit. Oh my gosh. I knew Detroit had problems. I knew under a Democratic leadership, remember that, people, it was a Democratic mayor and Democratic leadership that allowed that city to just tank. It is so much worse than I even thought. Not only are the buildings decaying because no one's maintaining them. The article I was watching said 60% of that city is more than likely illiterate, and 2/3 of the public schools have closed down. I mean, this is America. We're not talking about, a third world country. We're not talking about somewhere in Africa. We're talking about our country, where in the 50s, 60s, 70s, we see all this growth. And now, the turn of the century, we see this decline. It's pretty sad, actually. But my whole point is, you do have to be strong, and you do have to be prepared to deal with issues. Imagine living in Detroit. You know what happened when the city lost its tax revenues because their democratic policies were making their middle class unhappy, and the automobile industry left. Everyone who was thinking and prepared also left. There was a whole exodus out of the city because they could see what was coming. Yeah, you need to be on top of things. You need to be prepared for things. You need to be looking around you with your head up, not down in your screen, down in your mama's basement playing whatever video game. Because it's the people who see that coming and decide, that's not for me, who end up doing okay in those situations. And it's the ones who are doing this when it rolls right over top of them who go, what just happened? Keep that in mind. All right, thanks for watching, y'all. Bless you. Shalom.